this, can someone be the recorder this time?
I wouldn't know how to do it on my machine.
I'll send you the link to our recording, and then.
Yeah. Are you talking about the notes side of it?
Yeah, the notes.
Yeah. I'm doing that.
So I'm recording this. So it's recording live.
Okay.
So this is Team Boa Constrictor. I'm Sandy. I'm here with Kel, Eddie, and Kyle, and this is our Project 2 group discussion. We'll talk about our Project 2 or any issues or concerns with our advertisement that we created. So I'll let one of you guys start first.
You want to jump in? I know we were kind of all speaking all at the same time and stuff. I don't mean to call you out or anything, but if you want to start off, that'd be great.
Who's that?
Kel.
Oh, hey. So for my advertisement, I ended up finding, last time we were talking about like church ads and stuff, few of us. I ended up finding one that was actually even more politically charged. It was an anti-abortion ad, but I like kind of the imagery used. It was. Did you guys read the article Roy Fox wrote on SymbolSpeak?
Mm-hmm. I did.
So that uses it's amazing how much SymbolSpeak actually goes into this stuff once you start thinking about it. Like, they had the picture of the mother and the daughter, and they're sitting in this beautiful park and they're happy, and the mother's kissing the daughter on the forehead, and all it's just kind of a blank white background off to the left, and it says she was unplanned. And I'm thinking about SymbolSpeak, and I'm like, it implies already, you see that you're going to be happy together. You're not going to have, you have time to just sit in the park and relax and have fun. Mom's not at her second job trying to support the kid, anything like that. That already all these implications that our minds are drawn just looking at this picture of this happy mother and daughter, and how much of an impact that has. And I think how clever it is that they don't have to say anything because we say it to ourselves. I thought that was really interesting.
So there's definitely the appeals of pathos right off the bat.
Yeah, and it had obviously some religious undertones, and I think that kind of appeals to ethos, because even if you don't trust whoever wrote this billboard, or even if you don't trust whoever, you trust your priest or your rabbi or your mom or whatever, you trust some sort of religious figure, probably a lot of people do, or whatever deity you believe in or whatever. I mean, people trust that, and that's authority right there, right?
Yeah. And what did you write about the logos? Logos
is hard. I kind of related that back to SymbolSpeak too. And I said, well, look at these two. They're happy. It makes sense. They're not going through, they're wearing nice clothes. They're not wearing, stuff they got at the thrift store for 50 cents. So I feel like through the SymbolSpeak, there was kind of this implication that, yeah, it'll work out fine. Of course, it's the logical, reasonable thing to do. It's the thing that most people would really like to do if it's, an option that's available. So, of course, look at these two. It worked out great. So, of course, it's the logical, sensible thing to do. Because the only really connection I could make through that was through the SymbolSpeak.
Okay. Eddie or Kyle, how would you identify logos in that? Because I'm trying to think.
That's a tough one.
So definitely I was able to see the pathos appeals and ethos.
Yeah, the ethos would be the religious undertones, right? So I guess the logo side of it would be, I don't know. I mean, on any religious ad, right? You're gonna see the Almighty, right? And that's a tough one, like kind of like I brought up last time, was politics and religion are real tough to work off of, right? But
yeah,
if it's just frank, it's you see these advertisements of churches and stuff, and they always look like this high and mighty, this grand scheme, this place of just happiness, joy, and stuff. And it's almost like they depict this better lifestyle, almost, right? rich or poor, don't matter. It's just this new ability, right, to be happy and to be to have people, right. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. I mean, there's, you know, church is huge down here in the South. It's everywhere, right? It's kind of like a Starbucks on every corner. They got a church on every corner. Same thing, right? So that's just how I would depict the logo side of it, right?
You know, I found a website and they said another way of looking logos, you could also see it like a cause and effect. Like if you do this, this will happen, kind of, you know, show some sort of correlation, or even like a consequences. So maybe for this one, it could be if you take the chance, if you know, you could have happiness.
Right.
You don't have to result to aborting your child. And so maybe that.
Or it could be the got away kind of thing too. You know, the life that you could have had with your child if you hadn't had the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
More of a pathos thing.
That's
though,
right. That's more what?
Isn't that more of a pathos type of thing though? Is appealing to look at what you could have had if you had done this.
I think it's both, because you're still I mean, there's emotion involved, right? Anytime when you deal with a child and that. So it's definitely a combination, I think, but it still has the logos.
The logical appeal, right?
Yeah.
And then for the appeal to ethos, and I kind of related that back to when we all had to do that Lazen thing, or however you say that name, and he's got the Colts, right?
Mm.
And I was thinking, you know, it's mostly a consumerist thing that he was talking about, but I actually read, I think it was Kyle's discussion board post, actually. He was talking about the cult of professional sports, which is, it's a brand, it's a product, but it's also kind of a way of living for a lot of people. So I related that back to kind of like, not necessarily like an actual religious cult, but like an ideological, quote unquote, cult that's appealing to groups of people. It's appealing to societal pressure to establish authority and make you do something.
Yeah.
Was the other kind of secondary source I worked in there.
Good. I think it's great. So who wants to share their next one?
So for the two different projects, for my rhetorical and visual analysis, I ended up doing it on the Prop 205, which was the marijuana bill that did not pass in Arizona and passed everywhere else.
What?
Really?
Wow. Yeah. So what the ad was that I used was that picture that I showed you guys, the scare ad. Would you be able to recognize marijuana? Would your children? And it was a pile of gummy bears that said vote no on 205. And inside of this paper, I also showed the positive ads that were out there, where there was a medical dispensary. There's a billboard called weedmaps.com that shows people where they can go to these dispensaries and actually get diagnoses. And then there was a city sign that said vote yes on 205, safer communities and money for schools. The appeals that I tried to use, I tried to show what this ad was doing as far as appealing to people's emotional value. You know, nobody wants their child to take something that would sedate their child accidentally. So that it kind of evokes a fear emotion in people. I'm trying to figure out. I'm just kind of scrolling through my paper here as we're talking. Like I said, I just finished this move and I'm sick, so I'm like I'm running at like half capacity right now. So the logical appeal that I had was that it could be disguised in commonplace as a candy. So it very easily could be something that people could mistake. It's not something that needed to be intentional, and also that teenagers could actually use it without their parents knowing about it.
Right.
You know, so that these kids could be popping gummy bears, and it's just a new way to get stoned without without it.
Kids and their gummy bears these days, man.
My gosh. First it's the brownies. Now it's the gummy bears.
Yeah, big pile of gummy bears. So yeah, that was the rhetorical analysis one that I did anyway.
What was
Going
the
into
ethos?
so the ethos, I did the what was it? Ethos was the fear that I went through for that the fear response from the viewer. The logos was the campaign showing that it could be disguised as something in commonplace. I'm trying to find it in here. Ethos. The credibility of the ad wasn't stated anywhere on the billboard. It was displayed in a public area and designed to look like an ad that was supposed to look similar to like a public safety announcement. So it made it look like it was disseminating important public safety information. And I think that was a way that they commanded their validity of who they were in the public. And then I went into how their validity was actually partially damaged because one of the funders, the major funder, they donated 40% of the anti-marijuana's campaign in Arizona, was a pharmaceutical company called Insys, which was based out of Chandler, Arizona here. And they create synthetic strain marijuana drugs,
Shocker.
as well as opioids. So they had very good reason to be against it becoming legalized. But anyway, yeah, that kind of knocked down the target ad's validity when people found out in this state that those billboards were being put up by a company that sold marijuana legally to people already.
The 205 still didn't go through then.
It did not go through in Arizona.
That's too bad.
So that was it for the rhetorical analysis project anyway. And then my personal ad that I created was for distracted driving. And I came at that from kind of a more morbid approach. It's something that I care about because I'm an EMT and something that we deal with. You guys would be able to see the ad, but I'm trying to where I listed off my items. So the ad is basically a guy in a red shirt who's sitting over his friend dead on the side of the road, and from behind him there's a whole stream of paramedics that are coming up from a blockaded road with a school bus in the background. The ad that I used was the ad quote that I used was from distraction.gov, which I was telling you earlier, Sandy. It was in 2014, 3,179 people were killed and 431,000 were injured in motor vehicle accidents involving distracted drivers. And those are just the ones that were reported.
So you have those text on your ad.
Yeah.
So I have that at the top, and then at the bottom it says, "Will you be next? Be safe. Don't text and drive." And then I have the company that stated it, the U.S. Department website, distracted driving, and then I have their logo in the corner. So the subtext there, it being a government site that actually has an authority in it, was how I kind of secured the authority. The emotional appeal, the cars that are in the picture, there's an Impala and an Altima, and it's in a pretty residential-ish neighborhood. So the idea is to evoke this emotional feeling that this could happen to anyone at any time, and you personally not doing it isn't enough, because other people are doing it and they could very well kill your wife or child on a sidewalk or anything like that. So it's something that needs to be stopped as a whole.
Could that also be ethos?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That could go across both. Yeah, and then everything else, it was the coloring, the lettering. I used a red font to kind of highlight the guy's shirt, and I tinted the entire picture like a greenish bluish, so that the red would actually pop off of it. You can see the paramedics and in the background, and they're all outlined. But like I was telling you, this was for a mass casualty incident. So we were running cameras and sound equipment and proximity monitors and everything else. So everybody had a bib number attached to their shirt. So it kind of worked out that there's a statistical number here, the 3,179. And then this kid that's in the shirt is wearing a 207 on his shirt, like a racing bib number on it. So it kind of attaches that logical appeal where somebody can look at that and say that, you know, that's something that very easily happens on a daily basis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It assigns that driver a number, which is it's a little dark, but it got my point across anyway. So that was where I landed on it.
That's good.
It's good. Yeah. Eddie, you want to share yours?
Sure. All right, let me get this down real quick. So mine was on, Starbucks, right? Everybody knows about Starbucks, right? The rhetorical analysis I did on mine was, the logo that's involved, right? Everybody knows what Starbucks has, right? It's coffee. It's not just coffee, but it's also, treats or whatnot. So I really focused on one section, which was the, notorious red cups that have been out there, right? So all the controversy that came about it and stuff, and how they depicted specifically that one color, right? Red. Red is associated with Christmas, but it's also associated with other stuff, right? So they used the one red cup. It could have been a white cup, it could have been a green cup, it could have been anything, but that red is what specifically showed that Starbucks logo, that red cup, depicted holiday. Not necessarily Christmas, because everybody was getting offended by saying Merry Christmas or whatever, so we had to all go back to Happy Holidays or whatever the case may be, right? So it depicted the Christmas side of it, right? So which was the logo side of it. The ethos side of it was just the fact that it's a very common, it's almost a household name, right? And I wrote that in my paper as well, saying, your parents can be yelling at you from across the room saying, turn off the Nintendo, and you can be playing your PlayStation or your Sega or whatever the case may be. For them, Nintendo is the household word, right? So it's a trusted name, just as Starbucks is, right? You can say, hey, let's go get some Starbucks. That person is going to know exactly what you're talking about. It's not necessarily, well, what's Starbucks? Well, Starbucks is coffee. Starbucks is treats, right? So that name is so branded in everybody's household, right? It's so specific, right? So that can tie into the logos as well as the ethos side of it, right? So it's a trusted name. Everybody understands what it brings, right? And that leads into the pathos side, right? So the pathos side is the emotional feel. How does it feel when you drink coffee? You could drink coffee from anywhere. It could be McDonald's. It could be across the street, right? So what makes this so specific on the pathos is that, and I wrote this also, was coffee is the second largest trade commodity in the world next to oil. You can go anywhere and coffee's there. But for Starbucks, it's that specific name, right? It's kind of like what we were talking about with Kel's ad on the religious side, right? You depict this church, right, that everybody wants to go to, and you have this higher level of living, right? Starbucks just screams status, right? It's everybody has to have the Starbucks cup, right? Or the Starbucks drink, right? What's that?
The Frappuccino.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what it is, right? So it has to say Starbucks on that cup, right? And there's a lot of companies that try to mimic it, right? With the famous white cup and the lid and whatnot. Hold on a second. Give me a few minutes, buddy. So
As you're talking about that, Eddie, there are a lot of coffee shops out here that have started to do the green awnings and the green umbrellas outside of their restaurant, outside of their coffee shops, because as soon as you that's the first thing you see it and you're like, that's a Starbucks.
That's right. That same green color.
But you would think they've patented that green color by now.
I don't know. But yeah, it's happened at a few coffee shops out here. You turn into the parking lot and you don't realize it's a Starbucks until you're 20 feet from it. You're like, damn it.
That's right. It's like, I gotta go over here somewhere else, you know. So the advertisement side that I did was, you know, it goes back to the whole thing of the red cup, right? So they've been advertising. They've been doing this since '97. So it's 20 years in the making, right? Every year they change it, right? But they get ready for the next year, and they get ready for the next year, and they get ready for the next year, right? So they've been advertising this red cup for the last year, right? They have the red cup. 2016, oh my God, it's a big old news conference. They released their cups. They released 13 cups. Now they have the holiday theme on it, right? The Christmas theme on it. And of these 13 cups, only one is for ice drinks, cold drinks, right? All the other 12 cups are for the warm drinks. So they're getting ready for the 2017 release now of the infamous cold drink cups, right? I don't know if that's exactly what they're doing, but you can see where the trend is here, right? So the red cups bringing you into the store, the advertisement there was they want to set up the person to buy you know, all the accessories in the store, right? It's not just the scones and the breads and the muffins and all of that stuff, or the health drinks and stuff, or the little you know, the protein packs and stuff. But they also want to market the gift card side of it, right? So there's no holiday saying on their cups, but yet you walk into their store and there it is right in front of you at every store. All the gift cards are right in front of you, and there's that one specific card that says Merry Christmas. It's like, boom, that consumer has to have that card, right? Because they want to be the one person that found the Merry Christmas that Starbucks claims that they didn't have, right? And they want to give it to that friend and family, right? They want to give it to that. They want to be the number one special person that's going to send it to that person, right? So my advertisement was build a hype, launch the product, right? So they build all this hype on how it's all. Sorry, I just moved my camera because it was kind of high up on that other spot. Right? So
I just got super dizzy there.
So what's up, buddy? Give me a few minutes, okay? So they basically build up this hype of, oh my God, don't jump on this, please, because you're gonna move my camera. They build up this hype and they get their consumers into their stores and they sell this product, right? They're not even selling coffee. They're just selling the accessories. They're selling the product. So overall, they basically go into the next product, right? Are they going to be able to sell the same amount of gift cards this year as they did last year, right? So last year, I mentioned that they were slated to sell like record sales on gift cards. And on Christmas Eve, they were saying that they were selling 1,700 cards a minute per a CNN Money report. Yeah, give me a few minutes. So it's a huge marketing scheme, right? That they're focused on, right? So the emotional side is the fact that you can be, you know, on your way on that Black Friday, and you're ready to get your Starbucks, you know, and you'll see everybody lined up, you know, outside the store, drinking their warm cup of Starbucks because it makes them feel good, right? It's like they have to have that while they're out there spending their money on that Black Friday, right? So that's kind of like how I depicted the ad, and the ad is basically the first picture. It shows just the red cup, you know, what their focus was, and then the second picture on the advertisement is the 12 cups, right? Minus the 13th, and then the third one is the gift cards. Well, actually, the second one is the gift cards. The third one is the cups themselves. And I put on there, and I circled in red that you can see there's only one card in that whole lot that says Merry Christmas, and it's right next to the one that says Happy Holidays. Right. So it's like they want you to focus on just that one focal point, but they have all these other cards that are around it, right? So if you can't find the Merry Christmas one, you're gonna have to get something else, right? And now they even sell them in like 5 packs and 10 packs and stuff, you know. So load up this card. I want $5 on all these cards. There's 10 cards. That's $50. Boom. You know, they get the sale on that.
Did they ever have those sterling silver keychain gift cards where you guys are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they were $125. They were sterling silver with cubic zirconia, like diamonds. Unreal. I couldn't believe it.
And they come like preloaded with $50 or something like that. I think is what it was. Yeah. It's like, I think they were like $200 for this other elite, you know, card of some sort, you know. So it's like that's what they're focusing on. It's just not the product, but the marketing side of the accessories, right?
Right.
Good. Okay, so with mines for the Rhetorical Appeal Project 2, I used a Banana Republic ad of an interracial couple. It's an intimate moment. They're about to kiss, and so I said for ethos, well, pathos, it's the intimate, romantic love feeling you get when you first look at this ad. Then for ethos, I said I use interracial couple. I found that credible because we're in San Francisco. San Francisco, where, you know, California is one of the largest, well, one of the states with the most interracial marriages. So I don't know if that was an ethos appeal, but it was definitely, you know, the pathos for sure. And the fact that they've switched their campaign 2 years ago to showcase real couples now. So they don't hire models. Any couples in their Banana Republic ads, these are real couples. So I thought that was credible too, assuming that if they did stick with their campaign, this is a real couple, real interracial couple. Right. And it's not staged, it's just capturing their moment during dinner. And then for the logos, it's just the brand itself. Banana Republic was a really iconic American clothing brand, and a lot of people valued their clothing, and so that was the logo piece of it. For the ad that I created, I mentioned earlier, I live in a new community, and one of the cults is young family, like myself, with little kids. So I moved here because of the school district and just safety around here. But in addition to that, you have to understand a lot of people moved in, their house appreciated a lot. So, you know, you have a lot of well-off people here, but at the same time, they also, you know, focus so much on the physical aspects of success. They feel like success is if, you know, you have all these latest, greatest gadgets, you know, driving the fanciest car, which is fine. But I think for me, the one thing I've also noticed is the early exposure to electronics now that these young parents could afford an iPhone, iPad, flat screens in each one of their kids' TV, how it's really actually harming our kids in the long run. So my ad started with a bunch of kids just playing, and it says early social interaction, and then it'll show, as a result, I showed a bunch of adults happy, and I said they're sociable. Then on the other side, I had a couple of kids, you know, happy kids on their electronics. You'll see one is holding an iPhone, iPad, and one has a flat screen. And so I said early exposure to social media. And then the result was robotic. And then I showed, I inserted a picture of 4 robots. So pathos, you know, kids, we could all relate to that. And also I wanted to evoke fear too. You have to really understand the consequences of early exposure to electronics, social media. You're actually impairing their cognitive skill to eventually socialize with their peers when they become adults, and they can't socialize or interact with their coworkers.
Right.
So the logos, it's I did that cause and effect. So hopefully people will see that logical sense. If kids are interact with other kids at their young age, they learn to share, they learn how to deal with frustrations appropriately, or they learn that social skill. So as a result, when you grow older, you have that skills, you know how to read people, you know how to interact with people.
Right.
And then pathos, ethos, it's something that it's relatable. So I don't know if I'm missing something in mine.
On the ethos side?
Yeah. So ethos, I used,
What was your example?
what did I put? I think just because the fact that it's relatable, we're all, you know, some of us are parents, we all have experience interacting with people even at work that are somewhat antisocial. So I don't know, I need to work on that ethos piece.
Well, I think that on the ethos side, it's just, you know, food for thought. You know, the trustworthiness, right, of how this is going to help, you know, our kids, right? It was kind of like what we were talking about earlier, right? So where Kyle said, you know, you just punch in your spell check and then it just does it for you, right? You can be typing in trustworthiness, type TRUS, you know, and it just comes out, and then boom, it spell checks it for you automatically, right? So I guess the trustworthiness is just the fact that you have that ability to go online and check to see how to spell the word, what the word means, right? So that would be the positive spin on the ethos side of it, right? What are the ethics behind it? It's like she said, it's not. They go hand in hand, right? But it's not the exact same thing, right? But the ethics side of it is just the fact that we do have all this information at our disposal. I mean, immediately. So that's the positive spin on it, right? I don't know if you can use that or not for.
Yeah, I got to work on that a bit.
For your negative side, Sandy, so you were talking about the long-term effects of what it's having on children. I just went to Starbucks this morning, and I was standing in line with 10-year-olds that were drinking coffee and texting on their phones. And 2016 has seen the largest spike in middle school suicides that it's ever had. Middle school suicide has risen to the level of high school suicide.
Wow.
So kids are actually growing up faster than they ever were, and they're being pushed into this lifestyle at such a young developmentally important age that they're dealing with stressors that nobody has ever had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
That's good. You got a lot of material to work with there, Sam. That's quite a bit.
Thank goodness it's only our rough draft.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hello.
So we were just talking about our Project 2 assignment and our the advertisement we created. So if you want to share what you did and if you have any questions or concerns, go right ahead.
I think for me, it's just creating the advertisement, because I've figured I was going to go around the subject, because lately since in my community there's not as much advertisement as we discussed last week, but there's been more advertisement because there's a lot of young people in Greer, South Carolina, that are doing they're driving while still being either slightly buzzed, and it's been becoming an ongoing issue in the past couple years for this area, because we've seen more and more accidents around that type of drinking. So I decided to go on the route to kind of emphasize and be more aware about being buzzed is just as dangerous as being drunk. So I think for me, it's just more, was the advertisement hitting on all the rhetorical appeals of like logos, pathos, and ethos? I think for me, I'm having the struggle with logos of making it more convincing, or is it coming from a more credible source?
So what is on your ad?
So right now it shows, the main part of the ad is that it's showing a speedometer of a car, but it shows going from, tipsy, buzz, and being drunk.
Yeah,
and
That's awesome.
I like that.
yeah, so
I
yeah,
saw
I
it.
actually was able to find one, because there's been several ads of being buzzed everywhere, but I've never encountered one that's showing the speedometer, like how dangerous it could get to being close to being drunk, and so I was trying to use that image to kind of emphasize that being buzzed is just as close to being drunk, and the more that you drink, the more dangerous it could be. So I wanted to
That's
add
logos,
more.
right? That's the logical sense, like if
Okay.
drink
Okay.
and drive.
Yeah, I kind of wanted. I wasn't sure if I should add more to it, because it was just that main image of that, but I don't know if I should add more to the advertisement to make it more convincing for other people.
So right now your ad's just the speedometer? Or
Right now
is
it's this. Yeah, right now it's a speedometer, but I wanted to know if there's more that I could add to, like if I could add more to it to make it more.
How about
convincing
finding
to-
some statistics on a CHP website and maybe include that, like a small little statistic. So
Okay.
that would be that's ethos, right? That's credibility.
Yeah.
But the logical appeal would be something that's something that is relatable, something that could happen to
Yeah.
any point or time. So I mean, like you were just saying, or the CDC also releases statistics for drunk driving and stuff like that, and those bodies are huge, credible bodies that have statistics that they've been marketing this stuff for over 20 years. They know how to hit people's bones, and really make them feel it. So you can find a good quote.
Okay.
The one thing I was thinking of is, and I don't know as far as how it relates to this project exactly how he wants our ads to look, but if you're making a billboard, people are driving past that pretty quick. I mean, I think a lot of the effective ads that I see have an image, on one side, and then just like a quick little tagline on another, just half a dozen words or something, just something snappy that you take in without even knowing that you do. Almost you just read it immediately and it's in your head. So for my ad, I don't remember if I talked about it or not, but I use a tagline. It's really, I think it was like half a dozen words or something, because I want people to absorb that while they're going past it. So you say something, just something about if, the logical consequences, if you do this, drinking and driving, or, then this happens or whatever. Maybe that could be your logo. It's just a quick little tagline that people catch. I don't know, like I said, if that's how he wants us to build our ads, or if he wants us to have a lot more information on them, since we're just sharing them with each other. I don't know, but
Yeah, there's this one ad. Sorry, hold on.
Are you done?
No, not yet. There's this one ad down here, because this is like Houston is like the capital of drunk driving, right? And there's this one ad where it's this dude that is just standing there and he's got a breathalyzer, and it says it real quick. Says, "You just blew $10,000."
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, it was great. Just the fact that it shows the guy, breathalyzer, boom. But just like Kel saying, it's a real quick caption. I mean, but it delivers that message right away.
Drive hammered, get nailed.
Well, I think to her point, it's not, you don't even have to be hammered, right? Buzz driving
Yeah.
is still drunk driving. So,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
think of a good tagline. That would definitely
Okay.
be the logo.
Thanks. That kind of helps because it's. I wanted to go more simple but more effective because, like Kel said, it's within that few seconds you want to capture their attention about what you're trying to get across. So.
Good. Kel, did you have any concerns on your ad?
Say what?
Did you have any concerns on your ad, or you were pretty comfortable with it?
You know, I don't think I ever actually discussed mine. When I was looking at billboards, I actually saw a lot of like humanist ads where it's like, oh, you know, if I think the one that pops into mind was like, oh, if you don't believe in God, join the club. And I looked at these and I thought they were kind of neat in the sense of like, that's kind of a taboo position in this country, right? It's like, oh, if you don't believe you're, less than everybody else. So I looked at these, but a lot of them had this kind of almost like kind of smug, self-satisfied sort of tone to them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do. And by the way, just real quick, did you guys like use images you found online for your ads? Because I thought we had to just literally draw it all ourselves. So I drew, and I don't have an artistic bone in my body, so that was difficult. But I tried to draw the entirety of my ad. Did you guys do that, or?
I did use pictures online.
I used the photograph.
Okay.
I just took some photos just from the local place and.
Okay, well, mine's gonna look terrible then, but that's beside the point. what mine ended up being was just like a white background, and it's got like a kind of an abstract blue and red figure, and they're like arm in arm. They've got their arms
Yeah.
and
I did
they're
see
both
that.
smiling,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yes.
and the text is just, that's off to the left, and then off to the right, it's just big, blocky, black text that says, "Don't believe in God? That's fine."
I
took
get,
something
yeah.
that's really neutral, and I tried to use, because I still had simple speak on the brain because I just finished writing my my paper where that featured in so heavily. So I was trying to use the simple speak as like, I'm not saying that one's a Republican and one's a Democrat and they're buddies and they're getting along fine, but your brain hopefully is going to see that red and that blue, and it's a good color contrast. It pops off the page, bright red, bright blue, and they're getting along and they're smiling and they're arm in arm. And no matter what they believe, they're eye with each other.
Yeah.
So obviously the appeal to pathos there is that they're smiling, they're happy. That it's talking. The text is speaking to you, is saying what you believe is fine. Because I live in a pretty red area, but it's bringing in a lot of blue people. There's been a lot of influx of blue people over the last 10, 20 years, and I wonder if some of those people coming into an environment like this maybe feel a little bit marginalized, maybe feel like they're not quite, because there are a lot of, there's a church on every corner and there's a church ad on every street. That's why I was talking about doing the church billboards and stuff. So I wanted to design something to kind of speak to those people and make them feel more welcome. So that was the appeal to pathos. And then the appeal to ethos was, what I was talking about earlier was kind of Lazin's cults and how you move in these ideological groups and the societal pressure that is an authority. It compels you to act in a certain way. So the ethos kind of is filtered through the symbol speak of, well, look at this red person and this blue person, Democrats and Republicans. Follow your group. Follow the societal pressure to don't be a dick. And the logo was kind of the same thing. It's like, it makes it, I wanted it to appear natural and normal that these two people that might be from ordinarily conflicting groups are arm in arm, and they're very abstract because I can't draw. So you're not man or woman, they're not young or old, they're together, and I wanted to make that look normal. Of course they're friends. Of course that's how it should be. Why wouldn't it be that way? So that was kind of the appeal to logos. That's the hardest part for me is, I think on both of mine, I had a much tougher time with logos than I did with pathos or ethos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys felt kind of the same way, and I'll try and look into that cause and effect thing a little bit more, and maybe see if I can work that into my analysis a little bit. But that was the only real logos I had. Was look at them. Of course, they're happy, they're smiling. Why wouldn't they be? Of course, it's logical, sensible, normal way to be. No, that was mine anyway.
Okay. Anyone have any suggestions for Kel?
Besides, use some pictures.
Yeah, take some photos, dude.
Yeah, you could go to Google Image. They have some.
No, I mean, I just wasn't sure if we were allowed to use them. I
Right.
was worried about like plagiarism or whatever. Oh, you just
I don't
off
know
the
if
internet
this-
for your ad. Banned from the class, expelled, I don't know, whatever. So, not mine.
Or use clip arts from the PowerPoint. Those are legit, right? You could use those.
That's true.
I think so.
Good.
I don't know. I mean, you guys, I mean, we'll probably do the same peer review that we did on Project One, right? So when you guys
Yeah.
see the ad or whatever, and I get feedback on that, you tell me, hey, looks ridiculous. Or maybe say, hey, actually, it's as bad as you're making it sound. Maybe you can stick with it. I don't know.
I think
That'd
that,
be good.
I think
I'm gonna
that-
print it on a canvas and put it on my wall.
I think the exercise here was just the fact that I think he just wanted us to go out to our community rather than just search something online. It's real easy for us to just look stuff up online, but we actually had to go out on a treasure hunt, right, to look for this specific ad. So I mean, when I saw the holiday cups when I was walking, and I was like, perfect, this is it. I took a picture, and there it was. And I mean, I did take some information off of an online site which shows the 12 cups, but the other pictures are photos that I took. So I think that's just what he's after. It's just for us to physically go out there and look for it.
Well, but the ad is something we're designing. That's not something we're pulling from our. The idea might be the idea for our ad is inspired by our community, but it's not something we're pulling from our community. It's something that comes from us.
Right.
Mhm.
That's what I was talking about. Was the.
But I think if you,
Design our
like
own
to Eddie's point, if you use real pictures, then it's real situation. You're not just,
Yeah.
it's real.
It's a collage. It's a collage of or.
When we were
Something
talking last week, I was talking about all the groups and sects in the Phoenix area that I identified, and the 38 plus religions that identified, and that the fact that there was an actual Church of Atheism here in Phoenix. So if you're trying to find something that markets to that group of people that you're talking about, the people that don't believe in a God or whatever. The Church of Atheism may be a great supporting material for you to devise your ad and everything else off of, because I'm sure they have great marketing material that they put out there that I haven't seen.
Probably. After we get done here, I'll try and remember to email them and just double check and make sure that using other pictures is fine, because it probably is. I mean, if the rest of y'all are doing it, I'm probably just the only one that was worried about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would.
Good.
Awesome,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you, guys. So if there's nothing else, I'll stop the broadcasting and then I'll email the recording to everyone.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend, you guys.
All right, you guys too.
Bye.
Yeah,
Later.
Bye.
Bye.